Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. Inter Miami defeats NYCFC on the road for the first time in club history, and it may just make the 2025 season. I'm your host, Scotty. I am joined for the first time in a long time by my co-host, Saur, so welcome back to you. And what a time to return as Inter Miami defeats the team they never get past in what ends up being dominating fashion, a 4-0 victory. Messi with a brace, Baltasar Rodriguez with a goal, Sergio Busquets scores. Luis Suarez scores. Busquets gets an assist. It was a lot of fun at the end. Saur, I just want to start by saying, 2 weeks ago when we talked about this game, I offered to shave my head if they won this game. And you said, no, you didn't want to see it. So, now that we're here, how you feeling?
I saved you, man. I really did. I don't think anybody wants to see you with a shaved head. I think that's the perfect victory. That's genuinely the best result that you could expect from this team. You score plenty of goals. Messi gets a brace, as always. Luis Suarez gets on the score sheet finally. You keep a clean sheet, and you actually not just beat NYCFC, you dominate them, and you thrash them. I don't think I'm ever going to say that again. So we should probably just sit there for a second, for 30 seconds without talking and absorb what just happened, because I thought Inter Miami was very clinical. That was a great performance. And I didn't expect this to happen at all. I genuinely went into this game thinking we're going to get a draw or we're going to lose. But I love surprises, and this was great. This was great.
Man, this team just knows how to bring you back in. Like we were doing soul searching 2 weeks ago, and here they are, rattled off a couple wins in a row, including something they've really never done before, and now they are the favorites for the Supporters' Shield. They have 4 games in front of them that are all easy games by comparison. They're in good form. Messi's healthy. He's in great form. Seems like he's going to score 2 goals every game. Gets an assist as well in this game. You're right. This is how you draw it up. And by the way, we can get back to this later, but that 4-goal differential could make a difference as we get into the table. Inter Miami, of all the teams they were competing with for the Supporters' Shield for first place in the East, they were behind all of them in goal differential. And 4 goals helps you catch up in a really nice way. Messi was great. Sergio Busquets, phenomenal. They were so clean on the ball throughout this game. Not just those two, but the whole team was so clean on the ball throughout this game that I was so impressed. It felt like we could just, for lack of a better word, tiki-taka our way through. And it's not tiki-taka, but it's just we were always in open lanes. We always had the perfect pass. We always had the perfect first touch, and we always had the vision to pass it through to the next line. And it was like easy for them today. And then ultimately they get the goals. We get a penalty. It's our first penalty goal of the season. I know we got a couple penalties over the last couple games, but we finally get one that turns into a point for Inter Miami. I don't even know where to start. It was just all good.
I can get you started. So I obviously wasn't there for the last episode, missed a couple. I watched the game. I watched the game against DC. We won 3-2. You had a few complaints about how we treated the opponent. I would, get behind that. I think there was some flaws in that game, absolutely. Inter Miami was very clinical in front of goal, not that good defensively. We scored 7 goals in 2 games now. That hasn't happened in a while in this entire season. So if ever, I think this entire season, and I want to applaud that. There's been some tweaks.
10 and 3.
10 and 3. So there's been some tweaks with the offense. I think it looks good. It looks exciting. It looks fresh. Now, whether you want to put it on Silvetti and Baltazar starting or Allende playing, Suarez not being there, there's plenty of variables that you can think about. I don't know what to point my finger at, but long story short, the offense is finally clicking, and I think peaking at the right time. So really need to commend that. There's been a lot of question marks about the defense, but I think this Falcone and Allen pairing was very solid today. I know NYCFC had their 25 minutes of opportunities, two opportunities, one off corner where Ostari made a really good save, and one I think where Allen and Falcone should have done slightly better in defending that. But I think NYC got a little bit lucky. But I want to compliment this performance overall. I think over the course of 90 minutes, specifically because of what you said. We looked clean on the ball. Defensively, we looked very solid. Going forward, it looked like Intmami initially was trying to use the wide channels, which worked in NYC's favor. But as soon as we started going centrally with Busquets, threading those balls through the middle and playing in the channels,
He was awesome.
I messaged you when the game was 1-0, and I said, Busquets looks really good. 30 seconds later, he had that beautiful pass, making it 2-0 to Messi. And I was kind of gutted because my entire spiel in the podcast was going to be Busquets had a really underrated performance that didn't, shine, but he was brilliant. And then he just looked fantastic. I'm sure we're going to talk about him. But I think this was a complete performance. Even in the first 25 minutes, there were some opportunities that NYCFC had, but Intmami never looked bothered, well and truly in control throughout the entire game. I think the size of the pitch helps in this case. We don't have to do a lot of running. The tiki-taka kind of worked in our favor. There's things to be said because previously when we've played in this field, this is not the Mickey Mouse
No,
field.
it's not. It's not.
It's different, yeah. So there's something to be said about the field working in our favor in some way or another. But I think Intmami played a very complete game, and I loved it.
I loved it too, and I think you make a great point about Busquets. Not just with possession, but also defensively. I thought he was having a nice game. Okay, here's where I want to start. How many times this year have I come onto this podcast and said they play too conservatively?
I think
100 times.
If we've had 30 games, you've said that 28 times.
Yeah, except it's been like 45 games, and I've said it 43 times. We've started to see a little bit of a change recently. And this was, I thought, the next step in that evolution where you have attacking possession-based wide forwards in Baltasar and Silvetti. Not Tadeo Allende, who is not a possession guy. He can open things up for you, but he's not a possession guy. And then you get a little bit more quickness and dynamism with the athleticism of Silvetti and Baltasar that you don't get from Talasco Segovia, who, again, was suspended with a yellow card accumulation. That's why he missed this game. And then in the midfield, you have DePaul and Busquets, who, as much as we love Yannick Bright, they are cleaner on the ball than Yannick Bright when it's just those two. Defensively, your fullbacks, you have your two best attacking fullbacks, and then you have, of the guys that he trusts, your two most athletic center backs in Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen. And then you have Oscar Ustari, whose greatest attribute is his ability and judgment when coming out to clear balls. Finally, we've seen a team with an attacking posture, with offensive pieces, and with the personnel designed to play that system. And this is what you get. And you're right, there was a couple chances going the other way, but when you play with an offensive posture like this, you're always going to have chances going the other way. You just trust your guys to handle it. And that's exactly what Noah Allen and Maxi Falcone and Oscar Ustari did today. There was a couple moments, hit the post, saved by Ustari, misplay by Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen. Like, all in all, you live with one or two of those mistakes a game because it allows you to score 4 goals, put the pressure on, and then all of a sudden you go into your next game, and guess what? You start intimidating them, and you can start to suffocate them, and then you can overwhelm them. And that's what this team should be. It's what it's always supposed to have been, and we're finally getting there 45 games into the season. 46 games into the season. 47 games, actually. This is the 47th game.
I don't want to jinx it because there's been a tendency for us to obviously be underwhelmed by performances and get down and out. Then after 2 games, we become very hyped up and ready to crown this team as champions. So I don't want to over-exaggerate the breadth of the performance. I thought it was a very professional performance. But for me, when the starting 11 came out, obviously I was unable to join the pre-game show, but my first reaction was complementarity. I think this team may not be the best set of players individually that Inter Miami has at their disposal. But this was a very complementary set of starting 11. You have a midfield that's relatively slow, right? We don't have what you call the dynamism in the midfield. When you surround those two midfielders, and we just have two midfielders, by the way, we don't play with three midfielders, which is already a
Tonight we did.
Tonight we did, but we
No,
already
no,
outnumber
no.
our
For
midfielders.
the first 60 minutes until Yanni Bright came on, we played with two.
Yeah. So you surround them with two Allende and Segovia, who are also not the most dynamic. It kind of doesn't lend itself to as much complementarity. With Silvetti and Baltazar, I don't think either of them had the best performance. Of
I
course,
don't either.
Baltazar with the goal had a really fantastic finish, but they weren't like superb or blowing us out of our mind, right? But just the way that they are as players and what they offer, and then the spark and the dynamism that they offer, they can run at the opposition. They can be ferocious off the ball, can hound the opposition, can maybe force a few turnovers. They're crisp with their passing from time to time. So they don't need to have the best game to make an influence. And I think that allows the midfield to flourish a little bit, because then you've got two really pacey, really athletic wide wingers who can do some of the defensive duties. Don't drag out your two midfielders when there's spaces in behind, because they're making those recovery runs in behind. So I think there was a lot of complementarity in the starting 11. And I don't think it's the best starting 11 that Inter Miami has to offer. But I think at this point in time, this is looking very, very good. And as you said, this may be the next evolution for this team.
Run it back. Same lineup Saturday night.
I would. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like what you're saying is you don't know if this is the best 11. It could be. It could be.
Try it out.
And run it out. Run it back again
Exactly.
Saturday. Okay, let's get to the chat because, and by the way, I agree on everything you just said. Gabriella says a clean sheet is the most surprising thing. We got helped out a little bit by the goalpost a couple times, but 4+ goal differential. And we're going to come back to this because we're going to talk about the supporter shield and the table and everything like that at some point in this episode. But for now, Inter Miami keeps a clean sheet. Couple saves from Oscar Stari, a big time one in the second half, a big time one in the first half off a set piece where Thiago Martins is free. And it would have made it 1-0 for NYCFC. It could have been a totally different game. It was sort of at him, so we didn't think much of it, but he has to be there. And then Maxi Falcone and Noah Allen, I thought, did a good job of shutting it down for the most part.
Very solid.
And they get away with a clean sheet, and then it allows the offense to be everything that we saw tonight. So incredible. Josue says, Saur returned to see Braceman.
No, I've been watching the games, man. I've been seeing Messi score left, right, and center, and miss a penalty as well. But it's going well. I've been watching the games on the side. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join, but I'm glad that I've been able to come back.
Ash says our drunken kung fu football can't be beat. I will say, it just looked crisp. That's what it looked to me. And considering the key change was Baltasar and Silvetti coming in, and I guess also DePaul into the midfield. And those two, Baltasar and Silvetti, they haven't had a ton of time to build chemistry with everyone else. And so for it to look that clean and crisp, that was something.
That's what happens when Busquets has a killer performance. He's untouchable when he performs like that. So that's why we control the game so well.
Do you think he has this big decision off his shoulders now? And now he's just like, I can just be myself?
Maybe.
The Devonit says, what a game. Look sharp. Also, big props to Noah Allen. The man with the new fancy contract gets the start. It's his first real run of games at center back in months, and he looks like he's back to being Inter Miami's best center back.
I thought he was the better center back of Falcone and Allen. Allen was the better one, but I thought both of them were very good, very solid. And Allen had a fantastic performance, except getting beat the first time against their false nine. I thought he did really well.
Cynical says the popcorn was perfect and we dominate. Coincidence? I think not. JC says, and this is where, let's sit on this one for a minute. Dude, Messi is not human, I swear to God. It's insane how consistent this dude is. Lionel Messi. I mean, MVP. Baltasar wins. He finishes. But that first goal is made by Lionel Messi.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like last game and the game before that and the game before. But in all seriousness, it's just this long, perfectly weighted ball that even if it was Busquets or
No,
Alba,
no,
we'd be
no.
saying that is an incredible pass. And yet Messi makes it look easy. But it is an incredible pass that sets
It
up
wasn't
Baltasar
just the
Rodriguez
pass though,
perfectly.
because the pass from Busquets into Messi was like a rocket, and
Yeah.
Messi's touch to turn
Yeah.
into the pass was actually much more impressive than the pass itself. And then the two finishes, if you look at the replays, they were very difficult finishes. I thought Matt Freeze closed down really quickly, but Messi with an inch perfect lift of the ball to chip it over the keeper. And then the second goal, or Messi's second goal, was actually a really difficult angle to finish off, but you would absolutely expect him to bury that in the corner. I thought Messi has looked above and beyond the best player in the league over the last 5 games, I think. And he's hitting MVP numbers again. I think he's going to get the Golden Boot this year. He's going to win the MVP this year. It's only a matter of whether he can actually drag this team all the way to the playoff finals, which I don't know. Don't want to get carried, but with this form, he might actually just.
I don't even want to think about the playoffs because we were having these exact same conversations this time a year ago. What I will say is Lionel Messi was actually, for those that don't know, LAFC recently signed him and Son, and he and Denny Bouanga have been like the greatest force anyone's ever seen. They're scoring like 2 goals a game each. So Denny Bouanga is actually now the guy competing with Lionel Messi for the Golden Boot. And these 2 goals, like they were tied at the beginning of the night. Messi now takes a 2-goal lead. He's going to win the MVP again, and it's going to be deserved. And I don't even know if he has to play another game. He leads the league in goals scored. He's 3rd in the league in assists. And I'm not even sure if that includes the numbers from tonight. And he's a phenomenon, and he's healthy. And as long as he stays that way, I think Inter Miami's going to win the Supporter Shield. And I can't believe I'm saying that.
Now, man, let's just enjoy this game. It was a great game. That's all we're going to say.
No, I'm absolutely coming back to that. But let's get to the chat again. First, Almer says, shave your head, Scotty. Sorry, guys. Saur talked me out of it. Honest says, we don't need Suarez, question mark. What do you think of Luis Suarez tonight?
I think it was non-existent for large parts of the game. Didn't really have an impact. Honestly, I think we... I don't want to say it, man. I mean, we've looked really good over the last 3 games, and I'm just glad that we look just as good today with Suarez, because it kind of takes away the debate of whether this team is bad because of Suarez or not. I don't think that's the case. I just think Suarez didn't do much today.
Yeah, I think the entire team looked really crisp, and that doesn't happen if there's one obvious weak link. And so Suarez, I thought, was fine. He gets the penalty. Clearly, I agree with you. I don't think he was like dominating or anything like that, but was like in tune with everyone, and the whole thing looked really crisp because of it. Pepto says, "This is the best they've played all season." Is this the best they've played since the Club World Cup?
No. No, after the Club World Cup, we had like a 5-1 win against New York, and like we've had some good games. But here's the issue with this team. This team has made some really good games sporadically, right? Sprinkled across the course of 10 games, there's going to be one that we look fantastic. But we've not been able to consistently put in these performances. I will start getting a lot more optimistic if I see this team perform really well like that every single game leading up to the playoffs. Now, I will say, I think this is the best incremental increase that I've seen in form from Inter Miami since the start of the season. I think we've looked slightly better each time over the course of the last 3 or 4 games that we've played. And that fills me with a little bit of hope. But I think we need to go that one step further in the next game, or at least maintain this same level, because it often happens that we play a really high level game in one, and then the next game the level drops, and it becomes like a smash or grab, and Messi bringing us out of a poor performance or just not a great performance, but we get the result. I think the performances right now is what I'm looking for in terms of consistency.
Yeah. There's a trap game this weekend. They go on the road to Toronto. Toronto not going to make the playoffs, but it is a road game in Canada. Like it's hard to play on the MLS in the MLS on the road. So can they do it again? You don't have to win 4-0.
Exactly.
But can you go get a
Yeah.
comfortable 2-0 victory or
And
a
look
comfortable
crisp.
3-1 victory? Right.
And you don't have to look world beaters. You don't have to look godly. You just have to look professional and crisp as they did today. I thought that was the level of performance that they put in.
Here's the thing. Their next 4 games is this at Toronto game. And then they play the Chicago Fire at home, New England Revolution at home, Atlanta United at home. If like they could run the table on those 4, and then all of a sudden they've won 7 in a row. They're gonna play for the Supporters Shield in the final game of the season. Like all of a sudden we're back.
Yeah. Listen, it's not just all of a sudden. There's still 4 more games left, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Great performance today. Let's move on to the next comment.
Okay, Cynical says it's Noah Allen's 100th game, and he becomes, I believe, the 5th player in Inter Miami history to hit the 100 mark. So congratulations to Noah. Listen, got the new contract. He's now back in the 11, hopefully to stay. Like he must be on cloud 9, getting to fulfill his European international dreams, rather. And so we have nothing but incredible things to say about Noah Allen. And I thought he was good again tonight. Bizrat says, Boosie, his intelligence, positioning, killer passes, key interceptions. He is going to be missed. Should we spend another couple minutes talking about Busquets? Because he really was that good tonight.
He would have been man of the match if Messi hasn't scored 2 goals. Just saying. He would have been. He was that good. I was tracking his performance analytics on the side because I really wanted to see whether I was, my eye test was being corroborated by the analytics and the advanced stats. And he was tracking at like a consistent average 8.2 without having a single assist or a goal at that point in time. Like this was when Inter Miami was at 1-0. So he was genuinely phenomenal in this game. And I wouldn't put it past any of us to give him the man of the match in tomorrow's post-game show. I thought he was that good.
No, I agree. I think before the penalty and then Suarez and the second Messi goal, so it's still 2-0. Messi has a goal and an assist, but Busquets has an assist to Messi and was part of that first goal. Like, I think there was a shout for it, but obviously you get another goal. Things get carried away when you're leading on Messi. Steven says, that Baltasar run was the exact same run Allende makes, but the first touch he was able to set up his shot. Nick Smith says Allende solidified his spot on the bench as long as Baltasar is healthy. And PG says giving Messi runners who have real touch and control was a revelation. I'm ready for the rapture now. Baltasar Rodriguez, he has a great finish, or nice finish. Again, that is set up by Messi, but we have seen Tadeo Allende get that same ball to him and not be able to finish. I don't want to get carried away because Allende does have 15 goals on the year and Baltasar has 2. But
Allende also has like 200 chances to his name, one-on-one with the keeper, which he scored 15. So
yeah, that's true too. That's also true.
Baltasar has played. This was his second start for Inter Miami, and he scored his second goal for Inter Miami. So don't want to get carried away, but I think he's tracking well in the numbers.
Yeah. No, I mean, you start to wonder, like, man, if this kid could stay healthy, what could this season have been for him and for us? Like, I didn't even think he was monumentally impactful in this game.
He wasn't.
But I think his ability to have a clean touch and then bring guys out does set things up for everyone else.
He's good on the ball. He's very technical.
Right. So I think he might not just put Allende on the bench, but maybe Segovia as well, which... Turnabout's fair play, man. Bizrat says the work rate was unbelievable even after 4-0, closing players down, pressing. The thing is, it gets easy when you're up 4-0 because you're having a ton of fun and they're miserable. So it gets a little easier to have a little pep in your step. Can I say something about Rodrigo de Paul? The penalty opportunity. He realized Suarez was going to dummy it and leave it for him. And he showed a burst of pace that he has not shown in any other millisecond of his Inter Miami career. Where has that been when it's come to closing someone down? Where has that been when it's coming to runs into the box? Because he had that elite burst in that 1 second. And now I'm going to be thinking about that all the time. He gets there first and he earns a penalty. But yeah, what do you think of Rodrigo de Paul?
I just think he looks a lot better in the midfield. That's his natural position. He knows when to close down. I saw your tweet about him, and I think he goes down too easily. But I think he played really well today. It was a much better performance than we've seen in a while from him. So I was happy with what he showed.
Lynn says RDP is now RDP. I think the humidity and weather was to blame. And this, like, I still didn't think Rodrigo de Paul dominated, but I want to give him credit because I thought the whole team looked really crisp. But it was that moment that I saw like a burst in him that I haven't seen before.
I'll be honest, I don't think there's going to be a game where he actually dominates the way Messi and Suarez does. I think he's going to be that underrated linchpin in the midfield. And I don't think we're ever going to see a game from him where he just looks above and beyond every single player on the pitch. He's going to look like a player who's technically gifted and he's going to lock down the midfield in certain games. But I don't expect him to be a game changer every single game. Some games, yes, maybe. But I think our expectations of Depot need to be slightly more different compared to Messi or Jordi Alba or Suarez, just by the role that he plays.
I want to come back to that in a second. But first, I have to tell you, with the pair of goals against New York City, this is coming from MLS Communications, Inter Miami forward, Lionel Messi becomes the fourth player in MLS history to have 8 braces in a single season.
He's going to break that record.
Yeah, he is. Rodrigo de Paul. Diego Gomez was that guy you're just describing at the beginning of last season. And I don't, is that not is that not a fair comparison?
Like the player that's phenomenal, can change the game in a second, that kind of player?
The guy that can destroy a midfield because he's everywhere and create opportunities because he's destroying the midfield.
Maybe. I don't know.
And not
I don't want to compare Diego Gomez to
not every game, but like once a month. Like that's what.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Yes.
I want you to know there was a game last year where Messi had a brace and Diego Gomez was still the man of the match from us.
By the way, can we sit on Diego Gomez for a second? I knew he scored 4 goals, but I watched the goals that he scored like 5 minutes before the game started. I was flabbergasted. Have you seen those goals?
I haven't. Were they awesome?
He scored a volley from like the halfway line. I'm not even kidding. It was insane. You have to watch it. But okay, my goodness, that player has evolved into much more than I ever expected. Okay, that's enough for Diego Gomez.
Lynn says no hair in that flew north. I ban that award for this game.
I'm going to give it to Lujan.
Sean says Silvetti is Mascherano's best signing so far. What do you think of Matteo Silvetti in his first start? I know you rewatched the game, but I don't know how closely or rewatching you had done over the last 2 games. He was like sparkly off the bench, but this was his first time being a real part of it.
No, he's got skills, he's got technicality, which I think lends itself to the idea that he's actually doing something fun on the pitch. I think you mentioned it. He has an ability to attract players to him, be sound on the ball. Very much like a Baltazar. I don't think he was particularly impactful this game, but again, he did what he was supposed to do. The team scored 4 goals, and Silvetti was creating, well, he wasn't creating opportunities, but he was doing all the right things. Not the best performance, but I thought he was more than above average. So good performance from him, but we have to see more from him, right?
No, but this is what young players do, right?
Yeah. When a team scores 4 goals in a game.
You want them to be able to be a part of the action while your team is doing well, even if they're not like playing particularly well, because their young players are going to be inconsistent. But that's how they grow, by getting. I think
you've nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly what I would say.
Janina says, I remember you two saying this is the game they would lose.
100%. 100%. I would still say if this game happens again tomorrow, I think Inter Miami loses. We don't win against NYCFC. We do not. I don't know how it's happened today.
I'm hesitant to get too excited because this team has let us down before. But, man, they look good tonight. Like, that team looked like they could beat anyone. And I will remind you, Here's the thing. NYCFC was in excellent form. They had won 6
Mm-hmm.
out of 7 games since they signed Nico Fernandez. So they added a piece and they became an entirely different and much better team. They were the hottest team in MLS. That's it for Inter Miami's schedule this year. They're going to play Toronto, Chicago, New England, Atlanta, and then Nashville, who is sort of really in poor form now. So this was the last time they were going to play like a really good team that we were going to be able to sort of compare. This is the type of team they might see in the playoffs, in the second, third, in the finals. So to have this be our last memory of them versus a really high quality squad, that feels good. And now, go ahead.
They don't concede that many goals either. The last time they conceded 3 goals was against Puebla in League's Cup. So the fact that we put 4 past them unanswered is actually a big deal. For me, the thing is not the fact that we won against NYCFC, which in itself I think is a big celebration, but we dominated majority of the game. And I know the commentator said that if they'd taken the 2 chances, it could have gone differently. Inter Miami could have been 6 goals up in this game. I think we were very professional, very clinical, and I didn't think we put too many steps wrong, which is not what we can say a lot of the times for this team.
Josue says, didn't Scotty say he didn't see the hype in Silvetti? Guys, I just wanted to caution you so that you could be at a baseline, so that when it was good, you could be excited, and when it was okay, you'd be fine with it. I just didn't
But
want
he wasn't
anyone
like
getting their hopes up.
phenomenal today, so I don't think why your thesis might be refuted yet.
I just want everyone to remember he's a kid. That's all. I think I like what I see, but he's still a kid. Jerry says lots of credit to Mascherano. The starting 11, you could see the space possibilities, and this is what we've been talking about. The ball movement was great. Baltasar with Silvetti on that starting 11 makes this team very dangerous. And man, it's true. They were just they understood spacing. They were able to play through very quickly. I don't know. We'll rewatch the game for tomorrow's recap it and see, like, was it just New York had a terrible game where they just caught out over and over again? But it looked really easy for Inter Miami.
Passing
They
was
knew
so
exactly where
crisp.
to be. So crisp. And then they were playing through. It wasn't just in and around.
I was going to say it was
through.
line breaking, right? There was an instance in like the 70th minute where Maxi Falcone gets the ball and he passes it back to Oscar Starry, and Sergio Busquets let him hear it because he was like, why are you not pushing the ball forward? So that was the mentality that I think Inter Miami went into this game with, and I really enjoyed that.
Tunda says, I think it's too soon to say that. NYCFC could have got us in the first half. In the final stretch, NYCFC sort of collapsed. We've seen this against another New York team already. Listen, I don't want to take away anything from NYCFC. They had a couple chances to make this a real game. But Inter Miami deserved not just a win, but a comprehensive win because they played exceptionally well. And those NYCFC opportunities came, in my opinion, against the run of play. So even though the number of opportunities was 2, 3, 4 opportunities, it was always against the run of play. Inter Miami was thoroughly in control for this game, and they deserved, 2, 3, 4 goal lead win, in my opinion.
I agree.
Jerry says my only critic would be Fafa, and not my only critic would be Fafa instead of Allende. Suddenly, with Baltasar and Silvetti, you now have quality pieces off the bench, such as Segovia and Fafa Picault. Dude, all of a sudden the bench looks pretty deep. Silvetti arrives. Baltasar is healthy and not just healthy, but like in form and starting to gel with the rest of these pieces. It's looking good, man. I don't want to get too excited, but it's too late. Lynn says Lujan has earned his bench spot. Okay, can we talk about the supporter shield now?
Sure.
Because I am very excited about the possibilities. Inter Miami currently sits on 55 points. They are one of, in my opinion, 5 teams that can still win the supporter shield. Cincinnati and Philadelphia are the other 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. Inter Miami has 2 games in hand on them. If they win one of those, they'll tie Cincinnati. If they win both of them, they will pass Philadelphia. Philadelphia can get 69 points. But their schedule is much more difficult than Inter Miami's moving forward. if you'll give me just a second. Philadelphia still has to play this NYCFC team, and they have to play Charlotte. Both of those teams are still fighting for playoff positioning. Cincinnati still has to play Orlando City and the New York Red Bulls. The Red Bulls still trying to fight to get into the playoffs. So both of those teams in their 3 remaining games have 2 harder games than anything Inter Miami has remaining over their final 5. And then if you go to the Western Conference, Vancouver, who still has 5 games to play, plus the Canadian Championship. So they still have 6 games. I think they're playing one tonight. But either way,
Yes,
they have...
Portland.
Okay. I think it's Portland. They still have to play Seattle. They still have to play Orlando City, plus the the Cup final for Canada, which is a game they're going to be hyper-focused on. I don't think they're pushing through all the way to make a Supporters' Shield run, which just leaves San Diego, who is the youngest team, Portland, Houston, and San Jose. That's a pretty manageable run. I would consider it similar to Inter Miami. But they can only get 66 points, which means Inter Miami has the clearest path and maybe even some wiggle room to get the Supporters' Shield. 5 games. I think they probably need 13 points, which is it's a lot. 13 out of 15. But when you look at the schedule, man, it looks doable.
It does look doable, but this team hasn't put a run of form together since we won 8 on the trot in the first 8 games of the season. So I don't want to get carried away on that. But listen, we always said that this stretch of 7 games is going to be difficult. But if Inter Miami can come out of it, that'd be great. And it would determine whether or not we win the Supporters' Shield. Tonight was, I think, the biggest test, especially against a team that you haven't beaten in I don't know how long, ever, maybe. So yeah, this was a major step.
They've only ever beaten NYCFC once, and that was at home. This is their first time ever beating them
away. So this was a major step. I think there's still a couple of trap games here and there that may trip us up. But again, this is the MLS, so if Inter Miami is going to lose, maybe, then Vancouver could also potentially lose. There's a lot to still play for, and I think Inter Miami has cemented itself as a top 2-3 for winning the Supporters' Shield. But we'll see. There's a lot of games to play.
You know what the thing that's changed for me now is that it's right there in front of them. It's not
ours, right? It's for us to lose.
I think we're the favorites right now. And I have not thought that in months until they just beat NYCFC. Not because they beat NYCFC, but because of how the rest of the schedule lines up for them. Because remember, they're going to play Toronto on the road, and that would normally be a huge trap game, and it still is going to be. But also now in their heads, they know we have to go get 3 points to win the Supporters' Shield, and if we don't, we're going to lose it. They're going to see all of these games as trophy-winning games. Whereas if this game had happened in May or June or March, they wouldn't have felt the same way. But now it's right in front of them.
I
think the momentum might carry them. And again, if you get through this Toronto game with a win, the next 3 are against basically non-playoff teams, all at home. And then the final test is on the road at Nashville. But if that game is to win the Supporters' Shield, they're going to go win it. And so I think the momentum just might carry them through. And you're absolutely right. It would not surprise me at all if they absolutely made us look stupid on Saturday afternoon.
I hate the whiplash that this team gives us. We were down and out 2 weeks ago. How are we this positive after one good performance? It's not even funny at this point. It's a bipolar team, and that's why I will not trust anything you say or anything that this team does on the pitch until they prove to me that they can put these performances together on a consistent basis. I don't like it. Great win, though. Great win.
If this was last year's team, I think we would be pretty confident.
Yeah, I would be very confident if this was last year's team.
But you're right.
We still don't even know what our best starting 11 is, right? We could go into that Toronto team putting Segovia and Allende as our front 2. And I love Segovia, absolutely do. But that could genuinely be the starting 11 with Suarez up top.
No, they have to run this back. They have to run this back.
What makes you think that Javier Mascherano will... Well, he is a creature of habit, so you might be right. He might actually run this back. But I don't know, man. We need to find a way to understand what this team wants to play. The way we played tonight was fantastic. And you and I both would want to see that happen. But we've seen Javi Mascherano and how he decides on certain things. I won't be surprised if Allende starts the next game. And yeah.
That just can't happen. Anton says, so Mascherano is learning, right? I do want to say something about Mascherano because we've been very critical and we've doubted his long-term future. But I think we've always been pretty confident that in certain aspects he would develop over the course of his first year playing game in and game out. And I do think we're starting to see that a little bit. That doesn't change the overall picture, and I see you're shaking your head no for everyone on audio. That doesn't mean that we think he's the long-term solution, but there are aspects of his coaching like ability that are going to develop with game repetitions, of course. And as we talked about in the pregame show, as we talked about to start, being a little bit less defensive and being a little bit more aggressive, offensively postured, like that might be something he's starting to grow a little bit. Go ahead.
Wow. I can't believe you're actually complimenting Javi Mascherano, first of all. I don't see it. I still don't see it. I think he had a great game today. He picked a really bold starting 11. He had a good game plan. I thought Inter looked prepared for this game, which is, again, you have to commend the coaching staff for doing that, for putting out a team that is ready to go out and win the game. But in terms of developing as a coach, I haven't actually seen that much development. Yes, he's probably playing a little bit more on the front foot, but there's also instances in a game where you go up 2-0 and then you start sitting back a lot more.
Well, they didn't do that though.
Not today.
Right? That was the hallmark of Mascherano in the first 4 months of his tenure.
The thing is, the sample size is so small.
Sure.
So let me rephrase what you said. I think Javi Mascherano started from such a low baseline in terms of his experience as a coach. There's inevitable room for him to improve. And he's inevitably going to find certain things that work for him. But I still don't think he's able to coach such an elite team. And
that's not,
And I don't think he's proven enough to me that he's grown over the course of the season. I don't think he's done enough to say that he's evolving as a coach or doing things that are, I still see similar mistakes time and time again, whether it's substitutions, whether it's setting up the team. And let's be honest, 2 games ago, we were absolutely criticizing his decision-making and the way this team is playing. So, yeah, I do want to push back on that, Lou.
No, let me be clear. I'm not saying he's developed into being worthy of this role. Only that, as you put it, and I think maybe rightly, like he was at such a low baseline that there has been positive improvements. And like I do think, to be fair to him, like we've seen Jordi Alba be much more attack-minded over the past 2.5 months, and that is something that has changed more than just over the last 3 games. So it's not nothing, but obviously we don't need to make this a Javier Mascherano conversation.
Also, to your point about running back the same team, I don't think that's possible because Jordi Alba may have picked up an injury, and then I think Silvetti is going to be out next week.
You're right. Silvetti is going to be out. Damn. Pepto says, you're right. Just when it's getting good, man. Just when it's getting good.
No.
Pepto says Silvetti didn't have a good game, but his first touch was beautiful after the season of Allende. Bizrat says, you watch the game, you don't see Busquets, but if you watch Busquets, you'll see the whole game. I don't think you could have watched this game without noticing Busquets, if I'm being honest.
He was everywhere.
He was, especially defensively, man. He had some really nice defensive moments. Janina says she loved that Suarez took that PK.
Good penalty.
Says too bad Silvetti will be gone for 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, just like you said, he's going to the U20 World Cup. By the way, Kramaski also going to the U20 World Cup with the U.S. Youth National Team. I know, not an Inter Miami player. Well, technically still an Inter Miami player. So.
Yeah, on loan.
Yeah. PG says, not going to lie, I thought Messi didn't have a great game against DC for his standards. DC, I thought he was pretty good against DC. Tunde says Buanga going on international duty will likely affect his numbers. So I don't think there's any games that week during the October international break, except Inter Miami has one because they have to make up extra games. Not 1,000% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that is one of the games that we had to make up because we went deep in CONCACAF and also in the Club World Cup. So I think Inter Miami is one of the only teams playing that weekend, which is the Atlanta United game. And I've heard that Messi's probably not going to go on international duty for that game. Although that said, Segovia probably will, Fafa, Rodrigo de Paul, like there will be pieces gone.
We're going to end up with like a bench of 4 people again.
Hey, we can get that Daniel Pinter. Dude, he may have changed the whole season because ever since he came on against Charlotte,
been a different
we've
story.
been fantastic.
Yeah.
Sarakti says Mascherano had great subs. Got to give him credit. What were the subs in this game?
Yannick Bright and Allende came on for Silvetti and Rodriguez. Then Jordi Alba came off and...
No. Ian Frey came off for Cello.
And then Jordi Alba came off for...
Toto.
I forget. Toto.
Avalos.
Yeah, there you go.
PG says we need a real striker. Say it, Saur.
We need a real striker.
They look so good, man, today. I can't get on board with that after that performance. Margaret says the team did good today. Wish they can play like that all the time. Suarez was good. Tunde says if he didn't take that penalty today, the atmosphere around his performance would be different. I don't think that's true because the team played so well, even without. Like, if Messi had taken that, it would have been a 4-0 victory. We all would be feeling great right now, and the team would have looked super crisp. So I agree. Suarez didn't have like a standout performance in any way. But also the whole team looked so good that everyone deserves credit for being a part of that.
I may have given him the Heron that flew north award just because I don't think he was as effective as the rest of the team.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm not going to because he scored.
Scotty said a bad word. CS says Scotty's gassed the hell out of NYC. They couldn't even score.
They almost scored twice, but
yeah,
hey, they could not.
Twice. Yeah. Ash says, well said, Score. The team needs to focus on execution to go into ultra instinct mode. But this is maybe the thing that's so interesting about Silvetti and Baltasar coming in and the team looking so good is that they haven't had time to gel with them. They kind of just have an instinct to play with each other, which is why I'm now pretty sad that we're not going to be able to run it back on Saturday. Man, so if Silvetti wasn't going, okay, let me ask you a question.
The next time we see Silvetti is going to be in the playoffs. Or
would you hold
maybe
him,
the last game.
Would you hold him out?
In terms of starting him?
No, in terms of not letting him go to the Under-20 World Cup.
Oh, 100%. Keep him. That means we bench Allende.
Like, I'm always for players going out and getting these types of opportunities, but...
Okay, I don't think he's going to start every single game for Inter Miami, but it's a good option to have. But of course, for his career, I think representing his country at the World Cup is a big deal, man. You can't stop that.
I mean, we wouldn't let Messi, we wouldn't let DePaul go. We wouldn't let Yannick Bright go to this. Maybe we would.
We would.
We wouldn't let Messi go to this, or like
Maybe
I never thought about this. I never thought about this until right now. And maybe part of his transfer was like an agreement that they were going to let him go, release him for this. And so, like, I'm not suggesting they should actually do this, but like, if this was a La Liga team, they wouldn't let him go. Jerry says, scouting report, guys. Teams will watch film and they will know Baltasar or Silvetti either are dangerous with a pass by Messi or Suarez or Busquets, and that opens things up. Well, Jerry just put it right. We keep him in the back chamber so no one gets any film on him until the playoffs start.
Honestly, could you imagine a front line of Allende, Baltasar Rodriguez, Silvetti, and Segovia as your 10 in the first playoff game? That'd be the most left field starting 11. Just bench Messi, bench Suarez, bench Busquets, and be like, this is all we're going to put out. Players you've never seen play for Inter Miami before. I think that's how we win the playoffs. Just stack your bench.
Yeah. No one looks better than Lionel Messi off the bench.
Yeah. That's the plan.
Ken says that DePaul looks like he's still adjusting to MLS's physicality. He doesn't earn the whistle he's used to, and I think that's a real thing. By the way, this is the third straight game where he's gotten fake slapped in the face, fallen, grabbed his face, gotten a foul called, and then you watch the replay, and there is 7 inches between anyone's hand and his face.
He's clearly gone to the Jose Mourinho school of dark arts, man. Clearly.
Dude, Busquets does the same thing with his like barely getting touched when he gets the ball stolen from him and he
And
falls
just
and he gets a
falls
foul
over.
call. So like
Just falls over.
maybe
It's so
they
funny.
teach that over in Spain really well. Sean says that third goal is out of this world. The third goal was the penalty, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was the second goal. I think.
No, that was the penalty was the third goal. The second goal was Messi and the fourth goal was Messi.
Yes. Third goal was a penalty at the 83rd minute. Great goal.
But it was Inter Miami's first penalty make of the season.
in
Which
the
is
MLS,
otherworldly.
yes.
Yeah, in the MLS.
Yeah. We didn't boot
Margaret-
it out and we didn't hit it on the crossbar. We actually slotted it in the corner.
Margaret says Diego was good. Diego Gomez was good. I liked him, but you cannot compare RDP to Diego Gomez. Also, we need to give RDP a chance to adapt to the weather here. Is different where he came from. Listen, Diego Gomez was way worse than RDP right now in his first summer, like when he first arrived. But his second season, he was way better than what RDP has been so far, especially defensively. But adjustments and all that stuff. Like I'm not.
By the
giving
way,
up on
Sean was
Country
referring to Diego Gomez's goal, not Luis Suarez's goal, when he said the third goal was.
Okay, yeah, that checks
Yeah,
out.
that makes sense.
RA says for playoff previews, you should do a big collab with some of the IM YouTubers. Yeah, we have them on often.
Yeah.
Sean says Silvetti wasn't great today, but he reads the game better than the rest of Mascherano's signings. Interesting. I am looking forward to rewatching the game specifically for Baltasar and Silvetti because my impression was they weren't ultra involved, but yet the whole team flowed way better because they were in. And I want to know how that happened.
I miss Redondo.
By the way, we are
How's he
not
doing?
far away from an all Argentine / Suarez lineup. Right?
Yannick Brighton, Noah Allen saving us.
You get Lujan back in. Well, Yannick Bright didn't start today, right? You get Lujan back in for Noah Allen and Cello instead of Ian Frey, and all of a sudden it looks pretty Argentine. That said, not Argentine, but you guys know what I mean. South American plus Busquets and Jordi Alba. That said, I think Ian Frey and Noah Allen had a huge thing. But okay, let's talk about Yannick Bright because we love Yannick Bright. And no one has vouched for him or, fought for him harder than the two of us since he was drafted. He wasn't in the lineup today, and they looked really good. What do you make of that?
No, there's going to be certain games you have to start him. Like against the big guns like Orlando, Columbus, Vancouver, teams that play on the transition really well, teams that can cut you apart on the counter, you have to start him. And I think today wasn't necessarily needed, especially with the way Busquets performed. But I wouldn't necessarily always count him out of the starting lineup. Like I wouldn't make it a norm.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think Inter Miami's possession was in this game?
I think about 55 to 60, I think.
It was 52.
Oh.
Which surprises me because I
Yeah,
would have guessed
that's
it was
low.
like 60. Yeah. Because they were so good on the ball
So efficient.
that it felt like they were controlling everything. They were control of the pace of play. And they played a lot of the game either in midfield or in the opposition's half, which is not something Inter Miami's done a ton of this season. And I think it's because they were very good on the ball. Clinical, great touch, and they understood where the ball needed to go next. And I think that's something that the four across the line, DePaul, Busquets, Silvetti, and Baltasar just have like an understanding on how to do. I don't know if this was a particularly good game or NYCFC was leaving too much space in the midfield, but man, they let it look really crisp. And I think if they're gonna be that crisp, they're not gonna give up as many transition opportunities. And maybe it does make Yannick Bright a little bit less necessary. And then you can bring him on the second half and he becomes like, a destroyer in the midfield. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here.
There's ways in which this team doesn't necessarily have to be so rigid in the starting 11 selection. Of course, there's benefit to having a consistent starting 11, but I think there are certain players in this team, Segovia and Yannick Bright probably exemplifying that kind of player that you might be able to miss them in a certain few games and keep them on the bench and not necessarily need them to start. But then in certain games, I think they will actually add a lot more value. So I think you can't be that rigid. And that brings me back to Javier
No,
Mascherano because he has to be able to understand how to use the whole squad and where each player fits in terms of their role.
Yeah, but you did just say like 10 minutes ago that he doesn't know his best 11.
Yeah, he doesn't. But that doesn't mean how.
But what if we
that's
just
not what
saw
I'm
it?
saying, right? Like, maybe. Yeah. Again, I don't think this team works against some of the better.
This is the hottest team in MLS. There's no team better than NYCFC over the last 6 weeks.
Again, sample size is too small. If this team looks like plays
a week and a half ago, we were saying the same exact thing about Charlotte, and then they whooped us, and then NYCFC whooped them. Like, I hear what you're saying. We're not going to have another test this strong, and I get it. Cincinnati has played incredibly well against us. Orlando City has beaten us up twice, but we're not going to face another team like that until the playoffs. So we're almost not going to have a chance to really know after this game.
I will say though, if this team plays like this against every single team, and if Yannick Bright has to be benched for that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. Thomas says, do you think Messi can equalize the all-time top scorer record in MLS? He needs 2 goals on average for each match left. He has 30. He has 24. The all-time record is 34, which is a Carlos Vela LAFC record. It's not going to happen because he's going to have 1 goal one game, and he's never going to get a hat trick. So,
maybe he gets 5 in one game or 4, like Diego Gomez.
I'm not going to get a hat trick, but I might just get a brace of braces.
Yeah.
Tunde says we'll need Neville to do us a favor and beat Vancouver today. They are biggest rivals for the Shield. I don't think Vancouver is going to be a rival in the end because of the Canadian Championship. I think they want to be healthy for the playoffs, and I think they want to win the cup, the Canadian Cup. So, yeah. Bizrat says, Scotty, please do not talk me into believing we have a good shot for the Supporters Shield. You know how their form fluctuates. Tunde responds, Saur's right. We can't trust this team. I mean, you guys are right. You guys are absolutely right. But I am going to get excited after we beat NYCFC for the first time ever, really. Nick Smith says...
Like, proper whooping as well.
Yeah. Silvetti's gone, can't run it back. And then Tunde asks, and we can go for both of this. No Silvetti. Let's assume Jordi Alba's healthy. What do you want to see Saturday night?
Baltazar and Fafa.
Not Segovia?
Yeah, actually, Baltazar and Segovia, maybe.
Or do you want to see Rodrigo de Paul back out on the right and Yannick Bright?
No.
No, I'm giving you options.
Baltazar and Segovia, I think. That would be a good shot.
Okay. You want Segovia on the right? I feel like we haven't seen that this year. I did ask for it a lot in the early part of the season.
Do it. Might as well. Do it. Let's see how it works. Put him on the field and let them cook.
Lynn said Scotty almost cried with the realization no Silvetti. He's a secret Silvetti lover. Calm down, Scotty. He's just a kid.
Oh, man. What have you been saying about these kids behind my back, man? The chat's cooking you.
No, I want everyone to relax about the young players.
That's the guy who just said that Inter Miami is going to win the Supporter Shield and this may be our best starting 11.
No, relax with the young kids, especially teenagers. Like once they hit 20, 21, like sure, you can start putting pressure on them, but like 18, 19, like especially in a new country, all that stuff. But he's been excellent. Like I'm very impressed with Silvetti so far. Tunde says, no, they can't. Messi had a whole issue with Barca holding him from the Olympics, and one of the reasons he got on so well with Pep was because he had a meeting and let him go. Well, I'm not sure those are the same things. But AK says the team needs not to slow down, went up 1-0. And this is something that I do want to give Javier Mascherano credit for because there have been a million times this year where he would switch to a back. Well, a million times. There was 15 times this year where he would switch to a back three.
Times.
He would switch to a back three, go ultra defensive, play inside his own box, and just see out a 1-0 lead. And he didn't do that. And he hasn't done that of late. And he's been pretty quick when the team gets equal, when the opposition equalizes or they go down a goal, to throw in, take off a guy from the back, throw in a guy higher up the field. Like, he's been more aggressive lately, and I think that suits the character and nature and profile of this roster. So I do appreciate that. Ash says Silvetti will come back a better player after the U20 World Cup. Sarakti says country comes first. To be honest, club has little say in this situation, rightfully so. Well, that's just not how that works at all. I guarantee you there's 15 players on the Argentine team that were not allowed to go because their club wouldn't let them. Maybe not 15, but that's how it works for a lot of countries. That's just how this works. Tunde says, Scotty, you're just saying this. DeBall had perfected that act, and it's absolutely irritating. His trademark is backing into a marker, then going down and grabbing the ball.
You got a handball for that today.
Talking about getting slapped in the face, but not really.
Yeah.
Sean says the 11 probably doesn't work against Columbus. Probably doesn't work against Nashville. It's going to be back to Brighton Allende maybe on Saturday. Tunde says football heritage is A whoops B, B whoops C, and of course C whoops A. Then Nick Smith says usually Scotty's the negative one. Now it's Saur. Can't we all just be happy for once?
I haven't been negative. I think this team had a really good game today, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. And we finally beat NYCFC. So let's just enjoy that.
Am I the negative one?
You are 100% the negative one.
It's just this season. Just this season. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Saur, welcome back to the Dry Pink Dialogue. We will miss you on your next adventure. But
which is soon, by the way.
I know. While we have you, thank you for being a part of it. Guys, we're going to rewatch the game tomorrow. We will be back for a full game breakdown and awards, and we'll talk about if Javier Mascherano is actually the right guy, and then we'll make some predictions about when and how quickly Inter Miami is going to win the Supporter Shield. So join us tomorrow night, and until then, enjoy this victory 4-0, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this, and have a wonderful day.